The best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's a quote by Peter Drucker. Time is precious, time is money, and this is the time for Money Talk on Atlantic Television Network. Good day, viewers, and welcome to a fresh episode of ATN Business on Atlantic Television Network right here in the city of Port Harcourt. This is the network's medium of bringing happenings in the economic sector of our society to our discerning viewers. This program is aimed at bringing to the doorstep of viewers the business, financial, and economic activities from all strata of society. Its delivery is accentuated through the various stock exchanges across the world. News about government economic activities, private sector business activities, listed expert opinions, stakeholders analysis, and correspondent reports. Headlines: 178.2 billion naira on Nair terminal. Tinubu sets for inauguration next week. Tinubu panel, Dangote refinery brainstorm on petroleum pricing. 815 billion naira loss in 1 week. President Liu resigns, chairman to be acting president. By the end of the show, you can be rest assured of being informed accurately of financial activities around the world. I am your host, Wendy Aguma. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll reel out the details. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Now let's go into market reports, local and international business news for today. The President, Bola Tinubu, will officially inaugurate the upgraded West African Container Terminal in Onne, Rivers State, next week, Wednesday. The terminal operator disclosed in a statement on Sunday. According to the statement, the unprecedented upgrade project, valued at $115 million, approximately 178.2 billion naira, commenced at WACT in 2021. It added that the terminal, operated by the APM Terminals in Onne, River State, is Nigeria's largest and most efficient container terminal outside Lagos. The managing director of WACT, Jethu Joshi, remarked that the completion of the upgrade marks a significant milestone in the history of Nigerian ports. WACT is Nigeria's first greenified container terminal to develop under a public-private partnership model. Strategically situated within the oil and gas-free zone in Onne, River State, the terminal has become the premier gateway for accessing markets beyond the Lagos region and a vital conduit to eastern Nigeria's burgeoning economy. On August 15, 2020, what made history when it received a at any Nigerian port. The vessel Maersk Steldohan measures 300 meters in length overall and 48.2 meters in beam, with a capacity to carry approximately 10,000 20-foot equivalent units of containers. Nigerian Shippers Council has said that out of a total requested amount of 7.8 billion naira. Demurrage applications received between January and June 2024, the sum of 19.6 billion naira was validated and reasonable for payment, leading to a savings of 31.1 billion naira within the period under review. The SCE disclosed this on Saturday in Lagos during the unveiling of its innovative electronic regulatory process portal, a digital platform designed to enhance regulatory functions and promote efficiency in the port sector. Speaking during the unveiling of the platform, the Executive Secretary and Chief Executive Officer of the NSC, Pius Akuta, said that the initiative is expected to save the Nigerian economy 80% of foreign exchange outflows in substantial amounts and also minimize capital flight by blocking financial leakages and preventing over-invoicing. Akuta said ERPP represents a significant step forward in the Council's efforts to modernize and streamline its regulatory processes. According to him, the impact of these digital advancements is already evident, stressing that between January and June 2024, the NSC conducted a quality assurance test to verify the accuracy of demurrage applications. He stated that the result represents a remarkable 400% improvement in savings compared to the previous year. Akuta added that the ERPP application is homegrown and developed by the agency's staff. The ES emphasized that the ERPP is not just a digital tool but a transformative approach to handling the complexities of the port sector. He explained that the ERPP also integrates a gateway to other crucial applications such as confirmation of reasonableness of demurrage, freight rates, and charter party payments. This integration, according to him, supports the Central Bank of Nigeria's revised foreign exchange manual of 2018, which mandates the NSC to confirm the reasonableness of such fees as a prerequisite for foreign exchange approvals. He maintained that the ERPP is expected to yield significant outcomes for the Nigerian economy. The launch of the ERPP marks a pivotal moment for the NSC and the Nigerian maritime industry. As the Council continues to innovate and adapt, the sector is poised to become more competitive and resilient in the face of global markets. Shipping agencies under the aegis of Shipping Agencies, Clearing and Forwarding Employers Association have approved 200,000 naira minimum wage for their various employees. The signing ceremony between SHCFEA and the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria was organized by the Nigerian Shippers Council and with the support of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, which is coming after 20 years of struggle. Speaking during the document signing ceremony on Saturday in Lagos, the president of SACFE, Mrs. Boma Alabi-San, noted that the new minimum conditions of service for the workers under shipping places would be the highest in any industry across the nation. She said that while the workers were asking for 160,000 naira, it is important to note that the employers went above and beyond to do 200,000 naira because they understand the situation in the country and want to ensure that everyone is happy. We don't just want the workers to live, but to work and save for their future. Alabi expressed optimism that the new agreement would assist the nation's blue economic growth via uniformity with the minimum standards and enhanced productivity and efficiency. Also speaking, the Minister for Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, admonished the workers at shipping agencies to increase the level of productivity and efficiency as a reward for the improved conditions agreed by their employers. He added that the government would continue to provide oversight by providing the enabling environment for compliance and continuous improvement. The President General of MWUN, Adewale Adeyanu, conveyed the labor union's gratitude for the feat, even as he assured higher performance of shipping workers. Adeyanju, who is also the Deputy President of Nigerian Labour Congress, reiterated the MWUN's assurance to continue to collaborate with all stakeholders for the benefit of the industry. Earlier, the Executive Secretary of NSC, Pius Akuta, attributed the attainment to the exemplary leadership of Oyetola, even as he commended the MWUN and SACFE leaders. Akuta argued that the success demonstrates the love for the welfare of workers that Honorable Oyetola's leadership epitomizes. He also acknowledged the ministry's improvement, their teamwork and collaboration. In April, the MWN announced that it has finally reached an agreement with employers of labor in the shipping industry on minimum wage standards for workers, ending over 2 decades of struggle. Recall that the MWN declared a state of emergency in the maritime sector after several failed negotiations with the shipping companies for improved welfare and service conditions for its members. There are indications that the federal government's commitment, which was set up to ensure the implementation of crude oil sales to local refineries in Naira, will further discuss the pricing of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, to be released by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery next month. Multiple officials, both among oil marketers and members of the Implementation Committee on Crude Oil Sales in Naira, under the leadership of the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, confirmed that the panel would be holding a series of meetings this week and in coming weeks on the development. They also stated that the committee would be concluding a framework that would put a benchmark on the amount which the Dangote refinery would pay for crude in Naira, adding that the federal government would have to decide whether to pay subsidies for petrol from the plant or to allow Nigerians buy the product at the market price. However, oil marketers declared that the cost of Dangote petrol would be higher than the current pump prices of the commodity, stressing that it would be tough for dealers to buy the commodity from the plant if the federal government fails to intervene in the price. Petrol sells at between 600 naira and 700 naira per litre, depending on the area of purchase across the country. The landing cost of the commodity, according to data released by the Major Energies Marketers Association of Nigeria, recently showed that the cost of PMS was 1,000 naira per litre. Marketers say this in the actual market price of the commodity and explain that the cost of the product from the Dangote refinery should be around this figure. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is a sole importer of petrol into the country. Other marketers stopped importing the commodity due to their inability to access the United States dollar required for petrol imports. But last week, at the presentation of the audited report and accounts of NNPC for the 2023 business year in Abuja, the firm's chief financial officer, Umar Ajia, admitted that the oil firm was shouldering a heavy subsidy burden on petroleum support imports. He said NNPC had been making PMS available for retail distribution at about half of the landing cost under an agreement with the government. He explained that the company had been offsetting the shortfall in landing price and sale price through a reconciliation arrangement between the government and the company. He said the company had not paid any money to any marketer in the name of petrol subsidy in the last 8 to 9 years. The federal government also disclosed that the sale of crude oil to Dangote Refinery and other local refineries will commence on October 1st, 2024. Federal government has declared that the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited does not have the funds required to rebuild old pipelines. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lopobiri, stated this at the just concluded Energy and Labour Summit 2024, organized by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria in Abuja. Lopobiri, while speaking about the investment of international oil companies and the need to ramp up production, emphasized that Nigeria also needs to repair its pipelines, which he said are old, corroded, and expired. He noted that even if the country can produce more than 1.7 billion barrels of crude oil, the problem is how to evacuate it to the terminal. Consequently, he called for public-private partnership to fix the oil pipeline, saying it is why they have to go for the global model, PPP. They have to get the private sector to come in. For the private sector to come into any country to invest, he said they must have confidence in such a country, stressing that this was lacking in the past 12 years when there was no foreign investment in the nation's oil company. The oil minister maintained that the smuggling of fuel from Nigeria to other neighboring countries is because the NNPC imports and sells below the landing cost. On the supply of crude to Dangote and other local refineries, he expressed fear that this may suffer a setback, except production is ramped up. He said the federal government would ensure there is healthy competition by being fair to both the small and the big refineries. Federal government has been asked to sell the government-owned Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refineries to fund modular ones. All three refineries are under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the federal government's oil firm. The Crude Oil Refiners Association of Nigeria made the call for the sale of the refineries, saying that it is the only way out of the incessant fuel crisis in the country. Since over a month ago, Nigerians started to experience fuel queues in filling stations, even as the pump price rose to as high as 1,000 naira per litre in some areas. Despite promises by the NNPC, the queues have refused to disappear, and this keeps impacting the cost of transportation. Current Publicity Secretary Eche Idoko expressed concerns that the federal government has expended over $1 billion to rehabilitate the Port Harcourt refinery, yet the facility has yet to start production despite 6 postponements. Idoko urged that the fuel queues would not go away unless the country starts refining its crude locally. According to him, modular refineries should be given intervention funds, which should also give the government stakes in the refineries. He noted that the reason for the fuel crisis in Nigeria was that the country does not have enough refined product, as the cost of importing fuel with foreign exchange is a burden on the government, especially when subsidy payment is involved. Idoko maintained that no one else could import PMS because of the government subsidy and the lack of foreign exchange. Suggesting a way out of repeated fuel scarcity, he said the low-hanging fruit is simply to empower the modular refineries. A modular refinery takes an average of 12 to a maximum of 18 months to set up. This administration can identify and select from the modular refineries that are already on stream to support them. Idoko added that in countries where there is self-sufficiency, the private sector drives the oil refinery segment. The NNPC said it has spent over 9.3 trillion naira to import petrol in 2023. After many months of denying subsidy payments, the firm confirmed on Monday that it imports petrol and sells at 50% below the landing cost, saying the government pays the shortfall. Many have argued that this is why the NNPC is having challenges to import enough petrol for Nigerians. Nigeria's electricity distribution companies collectively ranked in about 3.95 trillion naira revenue between 2019 and the first quarter of 2024, data from the National Bureau of Statistics showed. NBS data revealed an upward trajectory in revenue generation over the past 5 years, as the power distributors made 482.6 billion naira in 2019, 526.8 billion naira in 2020, 761.2 billion naira in 2021, 828.1 billion naira in 2022, 1.7 billion naira in 2023, and 291 billion naira in the first quarter of 2024. Experts attribute this consistent growth in revenue to several factors, including ongoing tariff adjustments, moving towards cost-reflective pricing, which has allowed the discos to align revenue with the cost of providing electricity. Additionally, the National Mass Metering Program has increased the number of metered customers, reducing estimated billing and improving the accuracy of revenue collection. The program has also contributed to reducing aggregate technical, commercial, and collection losses that have previously plagued the sector. Also, the enhanced regulatory oversight and the adoption of modern technology in billing and collection have streamlined processes, minimized revenue leakages, and improved collection efficiency. However, despite this revenue growth, the discos face significant challenges, including high unpaid bills, electricity theft, infrastructure deficits, and energy losses. These issues have hindered the disco's ability to fully capitalize on the potential of Nigeria's electricity market. Reacting to this, the president of the Nigerian Consumer Protection Network, Kunle Olubiyo, questioned the efficiency of the discos and called for urgent reforms. He told a correspondent that despite the pre-privatization commitments of the discos to meet the customers and the improved collection and billing efficiency, the power distributors have largely failed to meet their obligations. Olubiyo further highlighted the inadequacies of the discos despite significant investments in the firms by the government and the Central Bank of Nigeria aimed at network improvements. He raised concerns about the implementation of the federal government's national mass metering program, accusing some meter vendors and discos of conspiracy. According to Olubiyo, the government's ongoing intervention, which includes funding the importation and installation of 2 million meters annually using public funds, raises questions about the essence of privatization. He highlighted instances where governance or liquidity issues led to discos being placed under receivership, with interim management teams appointed by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. However, he noted that the effectiveness of these interventions was often undermined by internal politics and job insecurity among the school management. Olubiyo welcomed the recent empowerment of states to regulate electricity within their jurisdictions under the Electricity Act, describing it as a positive development. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelebu says the challenges facing the Nigerian electricity supply industry are not technical. Adelebu disclosed this in response to comments that he was a square peg in a round hole for heading the power ministry without the needed technical know-how. Speaking during a radio program in Ibadan, Oyo State, which our correspondent monitored, the Power Minister said the problems facing the sector are strategic and structural. According to him, Nigeria needs a problem-solving specialist to get a problem solved and not necessarily an engineer. The minister declared that President Bola Tinubu did not appoint him to manufacture transformers or power cables, but to look at hurdles and profit solutions. He maintained that what he did was to go into a comprehensive diagnosis of the issue, saying one cannot solve a problem without understanding the root cause of the problem, and you have to be sincere with it. One of the solutions, he said, is a need for a law that decentralizes the power sector and allows private sector participation, as done by the Electricity Act 2023, signed by Tinubu. He stated that previous administrations can run away from implementing a cost-reflective tariff to avoid abuses and condemnation, even when subsidies was not properly founded, and they kept piling up. Adelebu disclosed that the ministry is currently upgrading old power and infrastructure, stressing that power does not work through the air like telecommunications. Speaking about power asset security, he lamented that there are lots of saboteurs vandalizing power assets. The minister stated that the saboteurs cut off transmission lines and demolished transmission towers, substations and transformers. He blamed cabals and cartels for the attacks on power infrastructure. African Intelligence has projected in its largest quarterly report that the Nigerian construction sector may grow to $4 to $5 billion by 2028. He declared that the country's construction sector is expected to be valued at around $40 billion at the end of 2024. The report noted that the construction sector in Africa was experiencing a dynamic surge driven by rapid urbanization, infrastructure development, and strategic investment. He stated Nigeria is driving minimum momentum with a compound annual growth rate of 2.4%. The country emerges as a front-runner, showcasing a robust market in the construction sector, which had a value of $40 billion in 2024 and is expected to grow to $45 billion by 2028. With a big growing population and increasing urbanization, the demand for residential, commercial, and infrastructure projects is at an all-time high. Nigeria's proactive approach to infrastructure investment, particularly in transportation and energy, position it as a key contributor to Africa's construction boom. Reacting to this, a built expert, Samson Egelege, said the anticipated growth would be driven by several emerging trends and ongoing projects that paint a promising picture for the sector. He said this anticipated increase is fueled by the country's beginning population and urbanization, which have amplified the demand for residential, commercial, and large-scale infrastructure projects. Nigeria's proactive investments in transportation networks and energy infrastructure further cement its position as a central player in Africa's construction landscape. This growth is not only essential for accommodating the population surge, but also for catalyzing sustained economy expansion as infrastructure development directly impacts other sectors, including transportation, energy, and trade. Egypt, another powerhouse, showcases rapid construction sector growth with a remarkable CAGR of 8.4%. From a market size of $51 billion, it is expected to reach $76 billion by 2028. This growth is primarily attributable to strategic investments in transportation, energy facilities, and urban development. Egypt's appealing business environment, coupled with a strategic geographic location, continues to attract both domestic and foreign investment. He added notable projects such as the development of the new administrative capital and the expansion of the Suez Canal that highlighted Egypt's infrastructural ambitions and attributed significantly to regional development and economic stimulation. He noted that the projected $45 billion growth in Africa's construction sector by 2028 was underpinned by strategic investment, urbanization, and proactive government policies. Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company has restated its commitment to providing interim housing data to aid decision-making aimed at addressing the country's housing deficit. The Chief Executive Officer of NMRC, Kainde Ogundimu, stated this during the inauguration of a new Joint Steering Committee of Housing Data in Abuja recently. To ensure the continuity of data provision, Ogundimu suggested that NMRC could offer interim solutions while the National Data Center was being established. He highlighted the criteria needed for comprehensive and reliable housing data, saying, "We need to explore, gather all the details from where we can gather them, put them in the database, and then begin to refine them by the analysis that we make of such data." Ogundimu expressed optimism about the new system and portal introduction by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, which aim to streamline data collection and analysis. The initiative to consolidate housing data is seen as crucial for informed decision-making across various. Ogundimu assured the Minister of Housing and Urban Development of NMRC's commitment to delivering credible and reliable data. According to Ogundimu, the National Population Commission already holds significant data that could contribute to this effort. He emphasized the committee's determination to meet the set timelines, noting possibility of running tasks concurrently to accelerate the process. The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, Marcus Ogunbiyi, also commented, "The issue of housing development is a significant challenge facing our country. It has hindered the progress of housing development plans due to a lack of effective strategies and data." He noted that the committee's scope include establishing a National Housing Development Center, creating data gathering channels, and developing distribution channels for data to financial markets. We are open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. And you can connect with us and watch us on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X formerly Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Nigerian equity market suffered a 815 billion naira loss last week, driven mainly by bearish trending activities on Monday and Thursday. The NGX all-share index dipped 1.16% and market capitalization was down 0.004%, closing the week at 945 points and 55.13 trillion naira respectively. During the week, investors traded 5.64 billion shares worth 33.5 billion naira, 42,006 in deals, compared to the previous week's transaction of 2.3 billion shares valued at 42.155 billion naira in 45,155 deals, 157 deals. The financial services industry led the activity chart by volume with 4.977 billion shares worth 17.877 billion naira traded in 19,064 deals, according to 88.22% and 54.09% of the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. The oil and gas industry followed with 179.469 million shares worth 8.954 billion naira in 5,780 deals. While the services industries ranked third with a turnover of 123.505 billion shares valued at 525.517 million naira in 2,436 deals. Standard Insurance, Jais Bank and Guarantee Trust holding companies accounted for 3.951 billion shares worth 7.947 billion naira in 1,839 deals, representing 70.04% and 24.04% of the total equity turnover volume and value respectively. Most indices closed lower except for the main board, banking, insurance, NGS, AFR, bank value, AFR dividend yield, Mary growth, Mary value, and oil and gas, which appreciated by 0.98%, 0.17%, 0.37%, 1.90%, 0.47%, 6.31%, 3.94%, 0.38%, and 3.54% respectively. The alternative securities market index remained unchanged. In terms of market performance, 43 equities appreciated higher than the 39 recorded in the previous week, while 34 equities declined in price lower than the 46 recorded in the previous week, and 74 equities remained unchanged compared to 66 in the previous week. The local bourses has declined for 2 consecutive weeks as sell-off pressure persists. Securities and Exchange Commission has encouraged investors to take advantage of the revamped e-dividend portal to mandate their accounts, emphasizing the platform security and user-friendliness. In a statement made available to our correspondents on Sunday, the SEC Director General Ememotimi Agama highlighted the portal as a secure means for investors to manage their dividends and mitigate the growing issue of unclaimed dividends. Agama stated that the portal, accessible through the SEC's official websites or the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System platform, is fully protected against cybersecurity threats. He also warned against using unofficial sites, advising investors to only use the SEC's website for accessing the e-dividend portal. Addressing concerns about the requirements for bank verification numbers to the portal, the SEC Director General explained that BVN remains the most reliable method of verifying investors' identities in the financial sector. He noted that the Commission, alongside the Committee for Identifying Identity Management for the Capital Market, is leveraging technology to ensure accurate identification and streamline the dividend payment process. While the Nigerian Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2024 goes through the legislative process at the National Assembly in Abuja, members of the Minority Shareholder Committee are demanding answers from the board and management of insurance firms in Lagos as to their preparedness for a recapitalization should the bill succeed. At the last AGM of Prestige Assurance, similar concerns were expressed by shareholder Nona Awo. This is not the first redo for recapitalization in the insurance sector. While the new bill has already passed the second reading on the floor of the Senate, previous attempts to raise the capital base of insurance companies have not been successful. The last successful recapitalization in the insurance sector was in 2007. There were 2 attempts to recapitalize companies in the sector, but they failed. Then Commissioner for Insurance Muhammad Kari announced an increase in the minimum operating capital of operating firms under the tier-based capital regime that graded the industry's capital into Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. However, the move faced resistance from both the operators and members of the Minority Committee. After this, the National Insurance Commission came up with another capital increase exercise, tagging minimum share capital, which mandated life operating firms to upgrade their capital from 2 billion naira to 8 billion naira. Firms in general business were mandated to upgrade their capital from 5 billion naira to 10 billion naira, while composite firms were to upgrade from 5 billion naira to 18 billion naira. Again, there was resistance as most firms felt the increase was too high. The second recapitalization exercise was aborted in 2021 through litigation as the concerned parties took NICOM to court, stating that the timing for the exercise, which coincided with the COVID-19 pandemic, was wrong. In 2023, the immediate past CFI, Mr. Sunday Thomas, announced his intention to embark on another round of recapitalization at the 2023 National Insurance Conference of the NICOM with the theme Redefining Safety, Insurance Solution for Public Building and Buildings Under Construction. The chairman of Heirs Holding, Tony Elumelu, proposed a 50 billion naira capital base for consolidated insurance companies operating in Nigeria, with general business 30 billion naira and life businesses 20 billion naira. He said that the increase would ensure that the sector has the financial muscle and backbone to handle more complex insurance transactions while extending its reach. His position was countered by stakeholders in the industry who felt that the current capitalization or the insurance company was adequate and needed no further increase. Fast forward to 2024, when Senator Tokunbo Abiru, APC Lagos East, and 40 others submitted a bill to the Senate titled Nigeria Insurance Industry Reform Bill 2024, which sought an act to repeal the Insurance Act's Cap 117/2004, the Marine Insurance Act Cap M3 laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, the Nigerian Reinsurance Corporation Act Cap 131, laws of the Federation of Nigeria, etc. The current bill seeks to increase the minimum capital requirement of life insurance companies from the current 2 billion naira to 15 billion naira, and general business from 3 billion naira to 25 billion naira on risk-based capital. As the Commission determines, the reinsurance business capital will move from 10 billion naira to 45 billion naira. The bill, which passed its second reading in July, also proposed that any individual found engaging in unlicensed insurance activities will face a fine of 25 billion naira or imprisonment for up to 2 years or both. Some insurance stakeholders have commended the National Insurance Commission for managing ailing firms in the sector. The stakeholders noted that the decision of the Commissioner for Insurance, Olusegun Omoseyin, to disclose the states of some firms in the insurance industry was laudable, as it would enable the players to brace up. Omoseyin, at an interactive session with journalists in Lagos last Wednesday, revealed that they were managing some ailing insurance firms in order not to disappoint the public. Omoseyin also sounded a note of warning to those individuals in the running down of insurance firms, saying they would be made to revive them. He warned that managers who have been involved in the failure of insurance companies would be blacklisted and barred from taking up positions in the insurance industry, and stressed that NICOM was not interested in killing companies, but in ensuring that they were revived to ensure the protection of the National Coordinator of the Independent Shareholders Association of Nigeria, Moses Ibrude, also applauded the decision of NICOM to keep the firms afloat. However, a member of the Minority Investor Community, Adedayo Adeleke, reasoned that a different approach could have been adopted instead of casting a shadow over the sector. Another minority investor, Nona Awo, frowned at the exclusion of minority shareholders from process of redeeming the ailing companies. The statement noted that the Commission recently launched a revamped e-dividend mandate management system portal as part of its effort to address the unclaimed dividend challenge. The Securities and Exchange Commission has reiterated its commitment to resolving the lingering issue of unclaimed dividends, which currently stands at 215 billion naira, through the deployment of advanced technology solutions and improved stakeholder engagement. You're watching ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to ATM Business and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Bank of China Vice Chairman and President Lu Jing resigned for personal reasons effective on Sunday, the bank said. Vice Chairman and President Lu Jing resigned for personal reasons effective on Sunday. The state-owned lender said in a statement that its board had approved Chairman Jehun Jiao to serve as acting president. Louis, 57, has headed senior roles at major Chinese banks, including ICBC, ICBCA, and China Development Bank. He served as president of China Everbright Bank before joining Bank of China as vice chairman and president in 2021. China on Sunday said it resolutely opposes the U.S. decision to add multiple Chinese entities to its export control list in a bid to further curb Russia's access to advanced U.S. technology required for its weapons. In a statement published on state media, a spokesperson from China's Ministry of Commerce called the move a typical act of unilateral sanctions and long-arm jurisdiction. The spokesperson also said the act undermines the international trade order and rules and impacts the security and stability of global industrial and supply chains. The spokesperson said Beijing would take action to safeguard the rights and interests of Chinese firms. The U.S. on Friday said it is tightening export controls to further restrict the supply of both U.S. origin and U.S. branded items to Russia and Belarus for the Kremlin's illegal war on Ukraine. A total of 123 entities were added to the list, including 42 located in China, 63 from Russia, and 14 in Turkey, Iran, and Cyprus. Firms on the entity list are subjected to export restrictions and licensing requirements for certain technologies and goods. The U.S. also targeted diversion through shell companies by adding 4 high diversion risk addresses in Hong Kong and Turkey to entity lists. Parties using those addresses to conduct transactions will require a license to do so. The Biden administration in February imposed trade restrictions on 93 entities from Russia, China, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, Kyrgyzstan, India, and South Korea for allegedly supporting Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. In April, the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative initiated a probe into China's maritime, logistics, and shipbuilding industries, alleging that Beijing used unfair, non-market policies and practices to dominate these sectors. Oil prices rose on Monday after Israel's Air Force struck targets in Lebanon with over 100 fighter jets before the Iran-backed group fired more than 320 rockets into Israel. Iran-backed Hezbollah said the strikes were in retaliation to Israel's killing of senior commander Fouad Shakar in Beirut last month. Israel said its preemptive strikes were aimed at foiling a bigger attack by the Hezbollah, according to the report. While there is a risk that the confrontation spirals out into a wider conflict, there is still room for de-escalation. Iran has yet to retaliate against Israel following the assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the political chief of Hamas, in Tehran last month. Early Monday, it was reported that there was no agreement over ceasefire in talks on Sunday regarding the Gaza conflict, with Egyptian security sources telling the agency that neither Hamas nor Israel agreed to proposals presented by mediators in Cairo. Ride-hailing app Uber has been hit with a 219 billion euros fine for transferring the personal data of European drivers to U.S. servers in violation of EU rules, the Dutch Data Protection Regulator said on Monday. The Dutch Data Protection Authority said the transfers were a serious violation of the EU's General Data Protection Regulation as they failed to appropriately protect driver information. According to the watchdog, information including ID documents, taxi license, and location data was transferred to the company's headquarters in the U.S. over a 2-year period. Uber said it would appeal the fine, which it called unjustified. While data transferred to the U.S. are allowed under EU law, there is significant uncertainty around when they can occur without the need of further authorization. DPA Chairman Alid Wolfsing said the company failed to meet GDPR requirements to ensure the levels of protection to the data with regard to the transfer to the US. The DPA said Uber collected sensitive information of European drivers, including taxi licenses, data, location data, photos, payment details, identity documents, and in some cases even criminal and medical reports of drivers. It said it started the investigation after more than 170 French drivers complained to a French human rights group, which then filed a complaint to France's data protection watchdog. Under GDPR rules, a business that processes data in several EU countries must deal with the Data Protection Authority, where its main office is located. Uber's European headquarters are in the Netherlands. It is the DPA's third fine against Uber, following fines of 600,000 euros in 2018 and 10 million euros last year. The EU has rolled out a series of rules for big tech firms and imposed huge fines for breaches in recent years. Last year, Irish regulators fined TikTok 340 million euros for violating children's privacy under GDPR rules. This is where we'll wrap it up on this edition of ATM Business on Atlantic Television Network here in the city of Port Harcourt. I am Wendy Aguma. We are open for advert placement, bookings, and commercials. Stay connected on ATN socials, Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X Mali Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, atlanticnetwork.tv. Peace and unity are the pathways of progress. Thank you for watching and good evening.